hoping that you and I could spend a little bit of time talking about, first and foremost, what are you doing during this quarantine? Because, and very specifically to your business, because you became not only a celebrity chef, if you will, for television and now for YouTube, but a restaurateur as well. So I'm just curious, first and foremost, how has the quarantine impacted your biz?
We were completely shut down. Completely shut down. Didn't make sense in our minds to do the pickup delivery model. Just wasn't going to work. So we've, sadly, we furloughed employees. A few are still on, and we're waiting for the turnaround. We're cleaning restaurants. Not that they were dirty, but you can always have a super deep clean. You can organize. You can start to dial in things that. Don't forget, Gray's Not Taco is almost 2 years old. Gray's was a month old.
Right. Maybe
5 weeks when we had to shutter it, and we were just beginning to get a little wind under our sails. Each day was getting better. Our hours were getting longer. We were looking forward to being open to midnight here in Little Italy, because there's not that many places after about 10:30 that you can go have a cocktail that's not like a bar. And so it's a very different vibe in there. It's not the food hall vibe where not the other restaurants are. It's very casual. It's very loungy. It's very, very comfortable. And so that was starting to happen, and then it had to end. So
okay, so let me ask you a question. So like for me yesterday, I was literally sitting in front of my computer filling out the emergency loan programs through the small business and through SBA.gov.
Yes.
And I filled out all those applications.
Yes.
And then I called my banker. And I said, what should we be doing? And he said, you should be applying for all of these sorts of CARE Act sorts of government related loans, I suppose. Are you, as a businessman, because again, you mentioned restaurant, one is 2 years old, one's 5 weeks old. Are you doing what I think a lot of us are doing, which is, okay, let's find out how the government is going to help us through this period of time?
Look, that has to happen, right? There's no way to ignore that. You shouldn't be ignoring that, and certainly there are people on our team that are tackling that stuff right now. So we'll try and get through with some of that support, some of our own support. At the same time, on April 16th, we actually take over our third restaurant, which is an existing place in a Seaport Village called Buster's. They are leaving after 20 years. We're taking it after 20 years. And maybe not the best time to be grabbing another restaurant.
Yeah.
But certainly you don't make decisions at times like this. You make them when times are better and you see the right path. And I'll say on the positive side of that is that we now get to do a lot of our planning a little more slowly, because the Buster's thing kind of just quickly came out of nowhere. We were approached by the Port of San Diego. Did we want the property and blah, blah, blah. And then, the ball just rolled downhill very quickly and we ended up with it. And they had 3 months, and their 3 months comes up in the middle of next month until we take over then. So we'll get, a good look at what's going on and start planning our side of it.
Well, I've been reading that if you're in the restaurant industry, that on average, you have about 3 weeks of survival, meaning, that in an emergency like this, where there's no business, where your doors are shut, you have about 3. And I don't know if that's, if that's just a global.
Look, I would say that, look, Scott, I think you can make the jump from what regular people, the average person, has in their bank to help them through a bad period. I think you can make a similar kind of calculation with the restaurant business. Look how many of them are single, small mom and pops. The bottom line is not huge. They're trying to do their best. They can't take big places, so they take small places, and small places mean there's only so many meals, customers you can fit in a day, and it kind of limits the amount of money you make. And there's a lot of people whose hearts are really into the business, and they're not in it to make $1 jillion. They're in it because they love what they do. They love being in hospitality. They love serving people. That being said, a lot of them don't have a huge bank account. We're a little more fortunate that, I'm part of a group of an umbrella of, a handful of restaurants. So we're maybe in a little bit better shape. We'll try and take advantage of the government programs for sure. But I read a statistic yesterday that said 60% of restaurants here that are closed now won't reopen again. And I don't know how close to reality that is. Mm-hmm. But somebody asked me that question a couple weeks ago, and I said, I would have to imagine maybe 50% of restaurants might not come back. Mm-hmm. And if 60% is the number, it's horrifying. But you know what? Yes, the restaurant business has been devastated. But, I went for a walk with my dogs around Little Italy the other day, and there's plenty of really tiny little retail stores, 500 square feet. How are they going to hang on through this?